Speaking of real life, important game tonight for Chelsea. It's a must-win for them. Will they get that done, Lawless?
I don't have high hopes. Listen, Brighton are a tough team, but they're not the most consistent team going, so it's not impossible. But they've obviously lost Jackson, which, I mean, I saw Chelsea fans look. You have your striker injured, it's not good. But Chelsea fans, I think, made a little bit of a bigger deal out of it than it was, because the guy is he scored like 1 in 9 or something ridiculous. Like, he's not been banging in the goals. He's a focal point, still up top. But yeah, like even when they beat us, like it took some dodgy decisions, and it's just their finishing is atrocious. They had one was a goal that I believe shouldn't have stood, and it was just some scrappy goal, and the other one was an own goal, a lucky own goal with deflection. So I just don't think right now they've got the firepower to do it. I back Brighton's forwards a lot more than Chelsea's, and I think Brighton just outscored Chelsea. So
you
must win
in that position.
Hey, do you know what? Nkunku, he's goal scoring record compared to Jackson has been a lot better. Like he seems to have, like when I actually saw the stats, I was quite surprised. Like the amount of goals he's scored, it's something ridiculous.
Isn't most of them Conference League? I actually don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I think they was doing prop. Like,
stats with Chelsea this season can be very deceiving.
Yeah,
they fielded a complete different squad every
year. It was like 13 goals in 14 games or something. I was like, what? Like, but yeah, that's probably now you say it, it's Conference League tax. So yeah, man. I don't think they're gonna do it, man. I don't back them. I back Brighton in this. There'll be a draw. I think is where they're capped at. I'd be very surprised if they come away with a win. And top 4 is going to be looking like slipping through their fingers.
Yeah, listen, it's interesting, bro, because we were just talking last week about the lack of goals that they have, and very similar to Arsenal. We're talking about them needing improvements up front, and now the front line that we didn't deem that good. Now they lost an extra player there, so it gets even worse from here. Because now they have to play a front line of, I don't know, Madueke, Palmer, Sancho, and Nkunku, or maybe Neto. And I'm not gonna lie, other than Palmer, no one in that front line is screaming goals to me. You know, they just lose to Brighton a week ago in the cup as well.
Yeah,
so
in the cup.
Yeah. So I always hate these back-to-back games against the same team. You never end up winning both. It could always be a recipe for disaster. But yeah, man, listen, they're a bit shaky right now. Maresca's coming out saying stuff that is pissing off people about not being ready, apparently, to what was he saying? I swear he just made a statement about that they're not ready to compete for the league or compete for top 4, something like that.
Yeah, because they're not ready to compete for top 4, or they shouldn't be favourites.
Yeah, I forgot what he said, but it was something in that ilk. And it's pissing off a lot of people. I mean,
and they just loaned out João Felix as well. I just realised that.
Yeah, I saw this tweet from Fat. Have you guys ever spoke to Chelsea fan Fats?
Fats, no.
Yeah. He's a really good guy. He tweeted this. He had loads of screenshots from different points over the last 12 months. But he says, so we've got Maresca saying top 4 wasn't a target. Stewart saying Champions League is a must. Cucurella saying top 4 is non-negotiable. Does anyone at Chelsea is anyone at Chelsea in the same meetings? And I think that Chelsea fans will 110% feel sort of lied to, maybe frustrated, confused, a number of these emotions, because the messaging seems to change all the time, and it's always worrying. If that, like Man United right now, we're saying we're aiming to try and win the league in 2008, 2028 as an example. Now, if we suddenly get to like 2026 and they're like, yeah, we're extending it now to 2030, we're extending it to 2031, your faith starts to dip. When your faith dips, you start to get more frustrated at results. You have less patience for managers, less patience for players. And there's a lot of Chelsea fans that think that if they don't make the Champions League this year, there's a possibility that they sell and catch in on Palmer in the summer. So I think that's a bad end result for them. But there's a lot of pressure on them right now. And a bit like what Amarim says, and I think, keep the same energy for Chelsea. Winning is so important for them at the minute. Getting in to that Champions League football, improving this, not losing anyone, and improving this good squad going into the summer. But there's a lot of question marks right now. And I think people are starting to worry about Maresca. Is that second half of the season collapse a problem? or was it just because last year it was seen as well they were clear, it was an anomaly, but
It's not even a collapse there. I'll be honest. He's just not a good manager.
You think?
He's just not a good manager. I'll be honest. Like, there's so many games where I watch, and footy judge Mo, shout out Mo, he said it best. There's a say that we have in Egypt. The players win you the first half, the manager wins you the second half. Which means basically you can start the game in any way, you put it on the players in the first half, but the adjustments of a good manager, they show you how you can win a game in the second half. And I always look at Maresca, and I don't think he does much to win a game in the second half. There is games, don't get me wrong, where I feel like they play good in large majorities, and I'm like, you know what, today with a better striker, they probably should have won. They wasted a lot of chances. It's not on the manager. But this is just too often, I feel like the other manager, especially like the last game against Brighton, I keep forgetting their manager's name. The young manager is like 31, 32.
Yeah.
Every time I feel like someone just makes a move on Chelsea and switches up the tactics a little bit, I just don't feel like there's a response for this manager. I don't feel like he tweaks the system. He makes any adjustments where I'm like, oh, yeah, he's getting the best out of this player right now. This is a squad that we've seen you in the beginning of the season actually play very well with. So you showed us that with the players that you have, you can actually do something. When it's not going well, what are you doing to change it? And that's my issue. And I know some people might sit here and try to take a dig and be like, oh, but you're not saying the same thing as Emery as an example and bring United into this. I haven't seen Emery play at the high level with these players like Maresca did. So Maresca already showed me that these players are better than where he has them right now. There is proof. We've all seen it. We cannot dispute something that our eyes have already seen. It's just since the drop-off, I haven't seen any reaction. I look at the tactics and I look at the in-game management. He doesn't strike me as a good manager. Pep with the worst City team I've seen ever, who is getting done every week by pace and power in the midfield, just one long ball, which is something that Pep doesn't do, and he absolutely smashed them off the park that day. So I just look at it and I'm like, I don't think he's that good of a manager. But equally, and Lawless, if you want to chime in on this, if they fire Maresca, is also a horrible decision. Because I'm looking at it, I'm like, how many managers are you going to fire in a row until you get some consistency? So it's like, I'm kind of at an agreement with the people that are saying Maresca's not good enough. But I'm also looking at it and I'm like, fuck, you're going to sack another manager for this young squad? Still no consistency? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's a loss, honesty situation for them, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no point sacking him for the sake of sacking him. Like, if there is someone out there that you can say, yeah, that's a guaranteed manager. That's a top quality manager. Like, say this is a complete hypothetical, but say you could get Klopp, right? I don't think you'd go Chelsea, but if you could get
a win
Klopp,
now manager, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like an elite level manager, you would sack Maresca for that type of manager. There's no point just sacking him because the results ain't good enough. You've made your bed, stick to it. There's been so much change and upheaval. Criticize Maresca, and I think he deserves criticism.
No, but I think let me counter you before you finish, though. Let me counter you. Here's the thing, and I was having this conversation earlier today. If you sack Maresca and you sign a hypothetical, like you said, let's not use club so people don't say we're just being deluded. Let's just say about a win-now manager, okay? You sign a win-now manager. What is the guarantees that this board and the sporting directors are going to recruit ready-now players for him? Because I can equally say, as much as I don't rate Maresca, I do know that results would have been better with a natural 9, as an example. I think they're struggling because they don't have a natural 9 in this lineup right now, or with a better goalkeeper. Some of the recruitment that we've seen for them in January just showed us what we already know about them. They look more for the future profiles. The fact that on deadline day they were still linked with Matisse Tell and Garnacho, when everyone knows they need a striker to come in right now and help what's his name out, Nico Jackson. What is the proof that if they get, as you said, by a win now manager like Klopp, they wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, listen, even if you're win now, we still want to recruit these type of players that are going to be good in a couple years.
Or it could be a project manager with an actual track record of building projects, because Maresca, he's just got Leicester and he got him promoted, but as a lot of people point out, he needed
because they weren't patient with Poch and they weren't patient with Graham Potter. So I have proof as well. That's what I'm saying, Lowe's. I have proof. The Fatura tweet would be perfect for us to revisit right now. Do these guys sit in the same board? Because I could say this on the type of recruitment and the type of vision that they have. You get what I'm saying? You're going for future managers, but you don't give them enough leeway to mess up and clean their own mess. Yet you're also not recruiting now players for me to say, hey, get a win now manager. It's a total mess. Everything's all over the place.
It's the culture of Chelsea that's been fostered since the Abramovich days. Like the fan base, club, they're just so used to that. It's not working, sack, move. Like, and that's
what do you make of what Ronan says here? He says clearly in fourth with the bottle jobs on luck.
Who said bottle jobs? Did you say the word bottle jobs today, Lawless? I didn't hear you say it.
No, wait. So what? So what is he saying? Chelsea are the bottle jobs?
Yeah, he's being sarcastic, saying, "Well, yeah, you guys are basically saying we're really bad manager, collapse second half of the season, bottle jobs." I think he's praised for it, but yet they're fourth in the league, and sort of he feels that Chelsea are getting too much criticism for a team.
They're not there on luck; they're there on merit, and I'm saying that they was very good. However, if they miss out on top four, if they miss out on Champions League, they will be bottle jobs because at one point we was talking about them potentially being title challengers. They was up there, second in the league right before Christmas time. We was looking at them like that, and if they go from there to finishing outside the top four, top five, whatever, it's not getting Champions League, they're bottle jobs. You cannot say it any other way.
The two things can be right at the same time. I understand why Rona is saying that. If they're fourth, but their form has been just up and down, and you guys couldn't see my hand, but if it's up and down, that's fine. The issue is they want I was just doing the other hand and no one saw what I was trying to do. You start the season like this, and then it's just been like that. And that's the issue. If you start the season slow and you've been improving, and that start of the season form you're having right now, people will say you're fourth, but you're improving. You're fourth and you're regressing, in my opinion. And that's when it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And that's why we're calling out. It's not about just being bottle jobs and being fourth. Because made this argument last week. Rodri and all these injuries don't happen in City. One of these guys is out of top four, and it's you because you're sitting in fourth. So you're there on a little bit of luck as well. We can't look at it that way.
What's your prediction for tonight's game? What we saying, boys? What's your score prediction?
Are they away or home or away?
They're away. They're away again. Away.
I'm gonna say 2-0 Brighton.
Yeah, bro. I don't know. I think Brighton win this, probably 2-1 or something. I just don't see Chelsea scoring a lot of goals. I don't know.
I'm going 2-1 to Chelsea just because they lost the other day, and I just don't think they're going to do it 2 games running. I think they'll win. I think they'll win 2-1 tonight, Chelsea. All that being said, I think they're going to win 2-1. A comment here says thoughts on Spurs being sold by that being sold to that Qatari family.
Is this the same one that was supposed to be buying Man United?
Justin?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's. You've got to remember that. Oh, listen, my personal belief is, although they'll be set up in different entities and guises, it's just owned by the Qatari royal family. There's talk about them pulling out PSG, and they're saying because they're getting too much scrutiny and media attention, you're going to get 10 times more if you come to the Premier League. But maybe that's a reason why they're going to pull out a PSG because they want a Premier League side. But yes, if Spurs get them, I mean, the Spurs are in a different situation to Man United. They don't have the debts. They don't have the financial difficulties. If people with that kind of money going to there, with the sponsors they could land for Tottenham won't have the same issues as Newcastle when it comes to like market value because they're already in the top 7 teams for turnover in the world. Spurs could be in serious business. The caveat to it all that I've read is that Daniel Levy would negotiate still running the football club. And if Daniel Levy's still running the football club, that could be a problem. But yeah, if they get them, it could be amazing for Tottenham.